1,000 years ago, humanity was wiped from existence. The galaxy watched as Earth, the cradle of humankind, burned beneath the onslaught of the Xelari, an empire that had ruled the stars unchallenged for millennia. To the Xelari, humans were nothing more than an inconvenience, primitive, fragile creatures that dared to resist. And for a time, humans fought back. They threw everything they had against the alien tide. Weapons, ingenuity, sheer stubbornness. It didn't matter. The Xelari's ships blotted out the skies, their weapons reduced cities to dust, and their soldiers crushed every last vestige of resistance. It wasn't a war. It was an extermination. When the final screams of Earth's defenders faded, silence took its place. The Xelari declared victory, their conquest complete. Humanity was dead, a forgotten footnote in the vast history of the stars. Earth, once vibrant with life, was left as nothing more than a desolate rock, a monument to the folly of challenging the Xelari. The once blue planet was stripped of its resources, its atmosphere scarred, its surface littered with the bones of a species that dared to fight. For the Xelari, it was just another victory, another species humbled beneath their heels. They didn't look back. Why would they? Humans were extinct, their planet picked clean and abandoned. Time moved on, and the memory of humanity faded, replaced by the concerns of a galaxy still firmly under Xelari control. For generations, Earth remained untouched, empty, forgotten, until now. The first indication came in the form of whispers. Faint signals pulsed from Earth's ruins, impossible energy readings that defied explanation. At first, the Xelari dismissed it as interference, the static remnants of old human technology finally dying. But the signals persisted. Patterns emerged, growing stronger, clearer. The Xelari sent probes, but they never returned. Ships dispatched to investigate vanished without a trace, leaving behind only broken signals and ghostly echoes. Fear crept into the minds of the Xelari. There were no survivors. There couldn't be. The humans were gone, erased completely. But something was happening on Earth. Something that no one could explain. Reports from scouts grew frantic. The surface of Earth was changing. Ruins that had lain dormant for a millennium stirred to life. Cities began to rebuild themselves, rising like phantoms from the ashes. A strange energy enveloped the planet, as if the very ground pulsed with purpose. It was as though Earth itself was waking up. And then came the signal, a single broadcast that echoed across the galaxy, clear and undeniable. Carried no voice, no image. Only 7 words. We endured. We adapted. We are back. The Xelari, for the first time in centuries, felt something they had long forgotten. Fear. The signal spread like wildfire across the galaxy, rippling through every listening post, every relay station, every imperial channel the Xelari had established. For a species that prided itself on dominance, the very idea that something stirred on Earth felt like an insult. Panic simmered beneath their cold arrogance. It had to be a trick, an echo of dead technology, a glitch in the system. Humans couldn't be back. They couldn't have survived. The Xelari High Council dispatched a fleet of scouts, sleek and silent ships armed with the best detection technology the Empire possessed. Their orders were simple. Observe, report, and confirm that the planet held nothing but empty ruins. No resistance, no threat. But Earth had changed. The scouts' reports were patchy at best, glimpses of landscapes that had no right to exist. Mountains stood where there had been craters. Forests, once burned to ash, stretched like green veins across the planet's surface. Machines, ancient, impossibly large, moved across the terrain as if rebuilding the very skin of the Earth. Towering structures of light and metal rose in silence, humming with power. The Xelari scoffed at first. Automated systems, they declared. Leftovers of human technology. But then the reports grew stranger. The scouts described movement in the shadows, figures that moved too quickly to be natural, too deliberate to be accidents. They were human-shaped, but nothing like the fragile creatures the Xelari had annihilated a millennium ago. Their bodies shimmered with strange alloys, as if flesh and steel had fused together. Eyes that burned like stars turned skyward, as if they knew they were being watched. Then the fleet stopped transmitting. One by one, the scouts fell silent, their ships reduced to drifting husks. The last message came from a pilot who barely had time to scream before his signal dissolved into static. In his final words, there was no rage, no arrogance, only terror. The High Council convened in secret, the first such meeting in centuries. The Xelari no longer dismissed the reports. Something was happening on Earth. Humanity was gone, yes, but what remained was something new, something worse. They were no longer simply alive. They had become more. Data recovered from the scout ships hinted at the impossible. Human physiology had adapted beyond natural evolution. The Xelari's weapons, designed to vaporize living tissue, were rendered useless against biomechanical bodies capable of repairing themselves in moments. Human minds, those once chaotic, unpredictable things, had merged with machines, achieving coordination and speed that rivaled the most advanced AI. In their absence, humans had turned Earth into a forge, rebuilding themselves from the ruins of extinction. Their technology was unrecognizable, defying everything the Xelari understood. For 1,000 years, the Xelari had rested on their laurels, confident they had crushed humanity. In that same time, humans had evolved. The council debated next steps. Some called for negotiation, others called for war. But the truth was undeniable. Humanity had returned, and they had been waiting. The Xelari didn't hesitate. Pride demanded a response. A fleet of warships, the largest assembled in centuries, was dispatched to Earth, armed with the most devastating weapons the Empire had ever created. To the Xelari, this was not just a mission, it was a statement. Humanity's resurgence was an insult that had to be crushed before it could spread fear through the stars. Victory, they believed, was inevitable. After all, they had already won this war once. But as the Xelari fleet approached Earth, they realized something was wrong. The system was quiet. Too quiet. There were no defenses, no planetary weapons firing upon their arrival. To the Xelari commanders, it looked like an easy slaughter, a replay of the first conquest. Earth itself seemed to taunt them, calm and waiting, as if daring them to come closer. And they did. The first strike came without warning. Ships on the outer edge of the fleet disappeared in bursts of fire and light, torn apart by beams of energy unlike anything the Xelari had encountered. Weapons targeting systems failed. Shields collapsed. Invisible waves of energy rippled across their formations, scrambling sensors and communications. It was chaos. The Xelari commanders shouted orders, but their fleets were being picked apart with terrifying precision. Then they saw them. Human ships rose from the surface of Earth, sleek, black constructs that moved like living things. They weren't massive or imposing like the Xelari dreadnoughts, but they didn't need to be. They were faster. They were smarter. Xelari weapons locked onto them, only for the targets to vanish, reappearing moments later to launch devastating counterattacks. The human ships didn't fire conventional weapons. They unleashed swarms of nanite drones, energy pulses, and something that looked like liquid metal, tearing through Xelari hulls as if they were paper. The Xelari fleet had faced countless enemies over the centuries, but nothing like this. Every tactic they deployed was countered with terrifying efficiency. Their adversaries weren't just humans, they were something more, something designed to fight. Humanity had taken 1,000 years to perfect their vengeance, and it showed. On the surface of Earth, the rebuilt humans moved in unison, their forms sleek and unyielding. They no longer resembled the fragile creatures the Xelari had conquered. Their bodies were weapons, forged from technology and biology seamlessly combined. They leapt into the air without ships, streaking into the void to engage the Xelari forces directly. The Xelari watched in horror as individual humans dismantled entire fighters with nothing but raw strength and precision. Panic spread across the Xelari fleet. Commands fell apart. Battle formations disintegrated. Ships that attempted to retreat found themselves cut off by human forces waiting in ambush. The Xelari realized too late that they hadn't invaded Earth. They had walked into a trap. Humanity had let them come, prepared for every move, every strategy. The first Xelari warship to fall erupted in a cascade of fire, its destruction broadcast across the fleet. More followed, swallowed by humanity's relentless assault. The Xelari had come to finish what they started, but it was humanity who delivered the killing blow. The Xelari Empire reeled from the devastation. What was supposed to be a swift and decisive strike had become a massacre, their massacre. Word of humanity's return spread like a contagion across the galactic networks. Empires that had once cowered before Xelari rule now watched with uneasy interest. Alliances shifted. The unthinkable had happened. The conquerors had been humbled. Xelari leadership scrambled to regain control. They framed the battle as a fluke, a tactical mishap that would soon be corrected. Fleets were recalled from distant systems. Weapons were re-engineered. Plans for a second, larger assault were drafted. Yet in the dark corners of the Empire, whispers grew louder, whispers of fear. The Xelari had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that didn't just endure, but came back stronger, more terrifying than before. As the Xelari scrambled, humanity moved. There was no delay, no hesitation. Human ships poured out of Earth's orbit, streaking across star systems once claimed by their ancestors. Where Xelari outposts had stood for centuries, human forces arrived in silence and dismantled them with brutal efficiency. It wasn't war. It was reclamation. System after system fell. Resistance was meaningless. The Xelari, for all their technology, couldn't adapt fast enough. They had grown complacent, relying on the strategies that had once destroyed humanity. But the humans had changed. They had learned, adapted, and outgrown their conquerors. In the span of months, the balance of power shifted. The Xelari homeworld, untouchable for eons, now sat under the shadow of human warships. Broadcasts hijacked every frequency across the Empire. Humanity spoke only once, their voices calm, measured, and resolute. You came to our world and burned it. You killed our people and erased our name. You thought that would be the end. But you don't understand us. We do not forget. We do not forgive. And we do not fall. The message rang in the hearts of every Xelari citizen like a funeral bell. On the outskirts of their capital, the first human ships descended, dark shapes against the alien sky. Defenses fired, but they were useless. Human forces landed, unstoppable and unrelenting. Biomechanical soldiers tore through Xelari lines, their movements faster and deadlier than any organic being could comprehend. Entire legions surrendered without firing a shot, their morale shattered. The Xelari High Council begged for mercy, but humanity didn't respond. Instead, they left behind a single symbol etched into the ruins of the Xelari capital. The Earth, surrounded by stars. It was a warning. The message spread to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity was back, and they were no longer prey. Empires that had once looked upon Earth with scorn now regarded it with awe and fear. The Xelari, once the rulers of the stars, were now a cautionary tale. Because in the end, humanity proved a simple truth to the galaxy. When pushed to extinction, they do not die. They evolve.